Yeah, you better listen. I'm bringing heat, you'll be a fan when I start rapping. Way I'll have your fucking head spinning. I'm known as spit vicious. Release bombs, they go tick tick. Boom, you blown, leave that head missing. I'm a phenomenon, stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me Octomom. I'm moving fast like the Autobahn, and I'm independent, so I'm not your fucking starving like it's Ramadan. Sick, twisted, gifted, can't copy, printed, can't hold me down. I shape shift, I'm liquid. I killed this beat, I might get convicted. They know how I move.
Hello, you lovely cubs, it's the Dragon Lord here, back again with another What If, part 3 of What If Naofumi had haki. Now, before I get into it, I would like for you guys to hit that like button and that subscribe button to stay up to date, because a lot more videos are going to get dropped, so if you don't want to miss any, I recommend doing this. Also, I recommend joining the Discord, as it will be receiving a lot of updates from now on, and it would be amazing to have you there, of course. Without further ado, let's get into it. The small man with a mustache walked up to Naofumi as he started speaking. "I think you will enjoy the services that I can offer," the man said with a smirk. Naofumi looked confused, but the man just gestured to Naofumi to follow him, so they did. After walking a few minutes, they arrived at a circus-like tent as they entered. They entered, revealing what looked to be like a front desk area. Naofumi noticed a lot of bottles of ink, which interested him. They continued walking as they went through some cloths. When Naofumi looked around, all he saw were cages. He was confused. "Wait, what kind of business do you run anyway?" Naofumi asked, startled. "Isn't it obvious? I run a slave trading company," the man said, smirking again. Naofumi was visibly disgusted as he looked over all the different kinds of monsters and demi-humans that were locked up in cages. He turned to Vlad and Frederick. Both of them just kept their heads down, though. Naofumi realized that they wanted him to find out about it by himself. That's right, this is another world. Of course, inhuman things like these exist here as well," he said, this as he thought about the old celestial dragons that he had heard of in stories told by his grandmother. "Well, inhuman or not, I heard you say that you can't get any party members because of the king's accusations. So this is the best solution to your problems. Slaves can't deny your orders, so they can't betray you," the small man would say. "Sir Shield Hero, think about it. It could be a good option for us," Vlad would say. Much to Naofumi's distaste, he did make a point. It would be better to buy a slave than potentially getting betrayed by people. "I guess we'll have to take the slave then," Naofumi said. The slave merchant smiled as he said, "Perfect. Follow me." They would follow him, passing by some sick demi-human children, eventually coming to a stop before a werewolf-type beast. "This bad boy is level 76 and will be able to protect you from any dangers if necessary." Naofumi would think, "Level 76? That's over 4 times my level." "I see what you did. Bring us to your best product. I'm guessing this one's worth 3 gold, Vlad would say. "Why, yes. I can tell that you will become returning patrons of this business," the man would say. Naofumi, however, walked over to a cage. He heard a girl coughing as he moved the cloth that was hiding her. "Your name?" he would ask. The girl looked confused. She was scared. "I'm asking your name. Do you have one?" Naofumi repeated. "Yes, I'm Raphtalia," she said, scared that he would hit her. "I'll take this one," Naofumi said while looking at the slave merchant. "Are you sure? That one is quite sick, and she's not for long," the short man would reply. "That's fine by me. I'll take her," Naofumi said again. "Well, alright then, that will be 3 silvers, the merchant would say with a smirk. Vlad would speak up in protest. 2 silvers, she's sick after all," he said. "Alright then, 2 silvers it is," the merchant said in reply. They headed back to the front area, where the slave merchant asked Naofumi for blood. Naofumi extended his hand, and the merchant would penetrate his skin with a needle, as a drop of blood would come out and land directly in what looked to be a sake cup that was filled with ink. Shortly after, the man would draw a circle on Raphtalia's chest. After he finished, a screen popped up for Naofumi. It was showing everything that needed to be known about the slave crest, and the functions and all of that. Naofumi spent another 10 silvers on some of the ink that was there, and he paid the 30 silvers that were needed for the crest to be applied. He unlocked the slave user shield and the slave trainer shield. He didn't think much of it, so they headed out, stopping by Erhardt first to get some equipment for the raccoon girl. She ended up just getting some basic armor and a small dagger. Naofumi pulled out the balloon as he said, "Now stab this." The girl looked at him confused, but he just repeated himself. She ran at the balloon, stabbing it, but she ended up falling on her butt. Naofumi would speak again, "Stab it again, and put some muscle in it." She would try and stab the balloon monster again, this time it popped, as they both got some XP from it. Raphtalia would fall on her butt again, though. "Listen, I need you to fight for me. If you do, you'll get nice meals and a nice place to sleep whenever we pass by town," Naofumi would say. The girl just looked confused about what was happening. "Naofumi-sama, I think it's best if you reveal who you are," Vlad would say, pointing at the shield. "I see. Raphtalia, let me explain again. The reason why I need you to fight for me is because I'm unable to," Naofumi would say. The girl would speak up. "What do you mean?" she asked. Naofumi sighed as he began to speak again. "I can only use the shield. My name is Naofumi, and I'm the shield hero. That's why I can't fight. I can't use weapons," he would say. Raphtalia's eyes lit up, much to Naofumi's surprise. "Here in Melromark, the shield hero doesn't get worshipped and demi-humans get discriminated against. Do you know why that is, Naofumi-kun?" Frederick would ask. "No, I don't," Naofumi would answer. "It's because Siltfelt worships the shield hero," Erhardt would say before Frederick or Vlad killed. "What does that mean? What does that have to do with Melromark?" Naofumi asked. "Let me rephrase. Siltfelt is a demi-human country that only worships the shield hero. Over there, humans get discriminated against. Because of our religion, our own Three Heroes Church. They coax Melromark to hit Siltfelt. At least that's what I think of it," Erhard would finish. Before Naofumi could answer another question, Raphtalia would cough as Naofumi remembered that she was sick. "Let's head out," Naofumi would say as they arrived before an herb store. Naofumi would buy some medicine, but he would also buy some of the tools so that he could make medicine off his own. They headed out to the fields as they power leveled Raphtalia to level 13. Naofumi hit level 20, and Frederick and Vlad would were both sitting at 25, with Vlad ahead in experience points. They stopped at the forest to set up camp. Naofumi started a fire, and Frederick and Vlad would both lay out their sleeping bags. Meanwhile, Raphtalia just kept admiring Naofumi, which creeped him out. "If you have something to say, come out and say it," Naofumi would say, startling the girl. Why did you help me?" the girl would ask curiously. "If you're talking about me buying you as a slave, it's because you were the cheapest and I'd rather have someone I can train myself in my party rather than some wild animal," Naofumi would reply. He couldn't reveal the actual reason, what he felt when making eye contact with Raphtalia. She was the only one there that was special, almost as if fate wanted Naofumi to find her. "Alright then, I just wanted to know why the great shield hero would save somebody like me," Raphtalia would say, as she started crying a bit. Naofumi would pat her and ask what's wrong. "It's just my friend Rafana. I'd been wanting to marry the shield hero for as long as I can remember," she said, with trying to keep out Naofumi. "Talking about your friend, where is she?" Naofumi asked. "She's at some lord mansions, in a dungeon that's hidden under the mansion. That's where we got tortured," Raphtalia would say as she broke down in tears from all the events that happened. Naofumi would just hug her, which calmed her down a bit. She fell asleep shortly after that. The next morning, Naofumi would hand Raphtalia her medicine. They had bought her some medium-quality medicine the day before, which she drank, and now Naofumi gave her some more medium-quality medicine, but this time he made it himself. Raphtalia remarked that Naofumi's medicine tasted better, like tea but with a bit of honey in it. Raphtalia was now fully cured, so the party decided to head into a more dangerous area. They got to an area that had porcupine-like monsters. They took the day to level up there. Naofumi is not getting hurt at all because of him coating himself in haki. The party leveled up quite a bit, as they ended up setting camp in a safer area. Naofumi would unlock some more of the shield he had gotten, while he waited for his haki proficiency level to go up. He had realized that the status magic took a moment to analyze his abilities. Using haki to its fullest capabilities, he could multiply his defense by 12, as well as its damage, even though that didn't do much in comparison to his defense. Naofumi realized that using haki tires him out fast, so he decided it could be used with less haki. So he decided it would be good to use less haki. The world has integrated haki weird, Naofumi thought to himself. He knew about defense becoming stronger, but 12 times seemed a bit insane, and from what Naofumi could gather, that number would only become higher and higher. He realized that the world has broken haki. He decided that it would be best to use 4 times instead of 12, as this would strain his body less. He didn't mind the free power-up, but something felt off. That's why he decided to lay off a bit. He was happy, though, the party was leveling up fast. A few days would pass as the party had gone to Loot Village, where the party would split up in two. Frederick and Vlad would go into town to get information about leveling spots and other things, and Naofumi and Raphtalia would go into an abandoned mineshaft to get ore and other valuables. It is here that Naofumi unlocked the rope shield and the pickaxe shield. The rope shield giving him the airstrike shield ability. They proceeded deeper into the mine where they found some chunks of iron and other ores. They both heard a growl, and as they looked back, they saw a two-headed dog demon coming for them. Naofumi grabbed Raphtalia as he jumped backwards, falling down into a ravine with water at the bottom. They got out of the water, but it didn't take long for the dog demon to find them. Raphtalia was screaming because of trauma. Naofumi told her to run, and that he would hold off the dog demon until she escapes. He jumped in front of the demon, knocking it back with an airstrike shield. Raphtalia, not wanting him to die, followed after. She sliced at the demon, getting one of its 4 eyes. It tried to bite Raphtalia, but Naofumi would get in its way as it chowed down on its haki-infused shield, breaking its own teeth. Raphtalia quickly came back and finishing the beast in one fell strike. Naofumi sighed in relief before he realized that Raphtalia was already hugging him. While she was crying, Naofumi just patted her. "I'll be your sword master, Naofumi," she would say with a smile. They got out of the cave, meeting up with Vlad and Frederick as they told them what had happened. If it wasn't for Naofumi's haki, the fight would have been a bit more difficult, but they ended up coming through. The party stayed in Loot Village until about 2 weeks would pass, and the party had progressed nicely. Raphtalia being at level 30, Naofumi being at level 32, Frederick was at level 34, and Vlad hit level 35. They headed back to the capital to get better equipment and prepare for the wave of calamity that was about to hit. They sold some goods that they found in the mines and fields near Loot Village to other traders. After which they went to Erhard, where Naofumi ordered custom armor for himself. Raphtalia got better armor and a better sword. Vlad had gone out to magic stores to find himself better spells and other things that might aid the party, and Frederick stayed behind with Erhard to craft his own weapon. After being done with Erhard, Naofumi and Raphtalia headed out to buy items they might need in the wave. After that, they headed to the Church of Three Heroes to check on the hourglass. Inon escorted them to the hourglass, where Naofumi got a timer on his field of vision. That said 20:00. So there's 20 hours remaining. Alright. That's all we needed to know. Let's head out of here, Raphtalia, Naofumi said before a familiar voice spoke up. "You're still fighting in those rags?" Naofumi turned around to see Moriyasu and his party approach. He saw mine, which worsened his mood a bit. "Rags, that's funny. I see you still spend all your money on showy stuff," Naofumi would say. "Showy or not, it doesn't matter. Just don't hold us back during the wave, Naofumi," Moriyasu would say, passing by him. "You sure you should be telling him that? How about you make sure you don't hold him back?" another male voice said. They all walked over to see who it was as they saw Ren and Itsuki's parties coming up. "What do you mean, hold him back? He's the shield hero. He can't do anything to help us," Mine would say angrily at Ren. "He's pretty strong, you know. I don't want to make him my enemy, and I recommend you don't want to make him yours either." "That's what I recommend anyway," Ren would say before leaving. Itsuki would leave shortly after as well, not saying anything. "The shield hero? Strong. They must have lost their minds," Mine would say. But in that moment, Naofumi used a bit of Conqueror's haki, which brought everyone in Moriyasu's party beside himself to the ground, as they all started shaking. Naofumi left with Moriyasu not being able to say anything. Naofumi and Raphtalia interacted while on their way to an inn. Master, is there a reason why you look so angry at that man and his party? Raphtalia would ask. There is, but I'm not willing to tell you about it yet, he replied shortly before they arrived at the inn where Vlad and Frederick were waiting for them. They didn't exchange many words as Naofumi looked to be in a bad mood. They ate dinner and went to bed afterwards. The next day, 2 hours before the wave, Naofumi and his party would be at Erhardt's shop, where they got Naofumi's new armor, which Erhardt called barbarian armor. Frederick would also have his new double-bladed axe, which was made of the special black metal that they had found in the mines. His armor got a small upgrade too, but nothing too much. Vlad and Raphtalia got the biggest upgrades, with them both having the entire new set of armor and both having new weapons and spells applied to their arsenal. They organized their stuff for a bit and made sure they had everything as they headed outside. They waited for the timer to hit 0. 10 seconds remained. Naofumi was excited but also worried what might happen. The countdown started. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As a bright white flash blinded everyone, they would find themselves to be teleported. But where? That will have to wait for the next part. Anyway, if you lovely cups enjoyed today's video, then please hit that like and subscribe button. And I know cliffhanger, I know you guys hate it, but that's just me if you haven't realized yet. So anyway, leave a comment down below what you thought of it. Check out my friends, they're in the link in the description. Also, yeah, I'm nerfing Naofumi a bit because he's a bit too OP, I know. So basically what happens when you bring a power to another world is it breaks, but Naofumi didn't have access to the power until he came to this world. So I'm just making it so that it broke, but it's too OP. But there's a plot to it, and you guys are going to see it. I think next episode will actually already have... Yeah, next episode of this will already have... Or next part of this, I should say, will already have why it's so broken. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Anyway... Join the Discord if, you know how it is. You know, we would love to have you there and talk to you and all that. That out of the way, I hope you lovely cubs had a lovely day. This was the Dragon Lord, and I am signing out. Peace.
Tell me a story.
There was once a pale man with dark hair who was very lonely.
Why was it lonely?
All things must meet this man, so they shunned him.
Did he chase them all?
He took an axe and split himself in two, right down the middle.
So he would always have a friend.
So he would always